Bienvenido, damas y caballeros. Welcome back to Freeform Radio on the Freeform Network. Remember to follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Freeform Network. Send in those questions and suggestions while we're still alive to ffnquestions@gmail.com. Again, this is Freeform Radio. I'm one of your hosts, Daniel. My other host today is Andy.
Man, it's all good. Andy's back here, hunkered down, ready to provide this the best show in the world to you guys.
You got your peace and your Bible ready to go?
My peace, my Bible, granola bars. What else do we need?
Right. So just to let you guys know, we were going to do an article today, but we decided with all the topical news of what's going on in the world, coronavirus or COVID-19, we decided to just make the episode of that. So not sure if it's going to be a short episode, a long episode, or an average, but we'll get into the conversation. This is something that when it first started, kind of shutting down, we live in Illinois, suburb of Chicago. So when it first started hitting our state and the governor started shutting things down, I got to admit, that's when I started getting kind of nervous. Before then, when it was in China and it was in Europe and it was always somewhere else, it wasn't here. So, I was worried, but it wasn't like personal to me, or not personal. I mean, that's not a good word, but it wasn't something that was in my zeitgeist here. And now that it's affecting our state and affecting us more in a personal manner, I got to admit, man, it did get me a little nervous, man. I started having a little bit of anxiety of it, and I'm not sure how it's affected you in these first couple of days.
I mean, I think I was one of the first people to take it serious, I guess. Oh,
you were like Trump, man? You knew about it before they even announced it?
Fucking Trump, the way he handled this, he fucked up, but we'll discuss that later. But initially, when shit started coming out of China, I was just like, oh man, this is going to be like SARS. They're going to stop it in China and nothing's going to come of it. And then it just spread like wildfire. And then I went to Asia, and then I was just like, oh man. And then when it went in, I think the only one of the first things that Trump did right was closing the border or closing off the travel from people who were in China, and told those Americans to get here and they were going to do all this crap. But I guess initially, like SARS and I think the swine flu, it kind of got handled. Yeah. One of the first things that when the WHO organization, the World Health Organization, said it was a pandemic, I was just like, oh shit. And when they classify something as a pandemic, it's like we've lost complete control of this or whatever. Like we don't have control of it. And that's when I'm just like, okay. So that's when I was really like, we need to become isolationists, just fucking isolate ourselves and just don't let no one in. But I think a lot of things, how America is made or where we came from, we're not like that no more. We like fucking putting our noses into other people's business, and the average American doesn't like to be told what to do from the government. So we're like, fuck you, this is all bullshit. That's why all this conspiracy stuff started to pop out. But right now, with the situation we are right now, yeah, by the time this episode drops, I think we might be what they're calling the peak, because everybody's talking about this bell curve or the curve. When this episode drops, we're going to be seeing if we're close to the peak or we're going to be right in the height of it, I believe.
Right. Yeah. Because typically just behind the curtains, we record a couple of weeks before we drop. So yeah, you're right, man. I think when this episode drops, we might be on a steep incline, if not at, like you mentioned, depending on how much this curve gets flattened, we might be at the very top of it. But I guess going into more of a personal feeling for me as far as this COVID, I had a cold a few days ago, or I think it was Tuesday of last week. So this is the Tuesday, the 10th. I woke up. I felt kind of congested, and I don't know, man. I felt a little off, but my son had been sick a few days before that. He had gotten sick, and then he took a few days off of school just to make sure everything was cool because of all the COVID. It hadn't really hit us here in Illinois yet. I think there was like a case here and there, sporadic. But yeah, I woke up with this cold, and I just assumed it was what Junior had given me from his stuff, whatever he had. And I kind of just dealt with it, went to work. Then as the day progressed, my throat started getting kind of itchy, and I started getting like a soreness in my throat, kind of like a sore throat. So I'm like, it's either a really bad cold or it's the flu. And I kind of just went through the day. But as the day kept going on and on, I'm just thinking like, you know what? I'm not coming into work Wednesday. I kind of left my work in a place where I could hand it off, and I ended up taking Wednesday and Thursday off. And then Friday, I was feeling a lot better. The soreness in my throat had gone away. I still had like a cough, and I still got a little bit of a cough. But I had a real slight cough, and the soreness in my throat had gone away. And I don't know, man. I was kind of ready to come back to work on Friday. And as soon as my work found out about, that I might be coming back, they kind of suggested, well, you know what? Why don't you just stay an extra day off? It's Friday. We'll see how you're feeling on Monday. And they kind of left it up in the air whether I had to get a doctor's note to come back or not. So I'm like, oh, shit, man. I might have to go see the doctor. In my mind, I'm still thinking this is really nothing other than a cold and a flu. And, spoiler alert, I still don't know if that's all it is,
You one sick motherfucker.
God willing, that's all it is. But I called on Friday to my doctor, and it was tough to even get a hold of him, which I imagine is probably 10 times worse. And I know before we jumped on, you got a story, Andy, about that. But yeah, it was tough for me to get a hold of him. So I finally get a hold of one of his nurse ladies or something, and we run through questions. Hey, have you been out of state, travel, blah, blah, blah. No. Have you had a fever? And I'm like, no, just very minimum. If anything, I've had like a few shivers, but nothing big. I'm like, but I got a sore throat and a runny nose. I had a real bad runny nose, kind of like when you get a bad sinus infection. My nose was running pretty bad. And as soon as it was over, it's like, yeah, I'm going to contact the doctor, and then we'll get back to you and let you know what happens. So my wife is home with me, and then we start Googling and trying to get more information. But this whole COVID thing is still kind of early. There's not a lot of places.
Did you say Hulk Hogan?
COVID?
COVID. Oh, okay.
COVID?
I heard Hulk Hogan.
Well, him too, probably, but I'm sure he doesn't have a lot of info. But there's not a lot of information. So we started finding the few bits of information we could find from some reputable sites. And with the COVID, it looks like the main symptoms is fever, cough, and a shortness of breath.
Dry cough.
Right, dry cough.
I've seen videos of dudes getting shot because they coughed on TikTok.
Yeah. So, and I didn't have, other than the slight chills, I didn't really have a fever. And I did have a cough, but it was cough with mucus from my runny nose. And I didn't have any kind of shortness of breath. I could still get it up and get it going, and everything was working.
Allegedly.
Yes, allegedly. I don't have any video proof or anything.
Real quick, talking about myths, I did go to the CDC website. Okay. And then for one of the emergency, like when you go to the ER, because if you're just like, you have symptoms, they want you to, what do they call it? I'm having
isolate yourself.
Isolate yourself, quarantine yourself. But one of the emergency symptoms is if you can't get aroused, Danny. So
Oh
if
yeah.
that wasn't possible, you need to go to the emergency room.
Oh
Danny,
shit.
I swear I put that when I saw it last Friday. I even joked to one of the guys in the office, like, "Do you read this? One of the symptoms if you can't get aroused." He's like, "Are you fucking with me? Like, it's on the fucking website. It's one of the coronavirus's emergency symptoms." So.
That's
You
when you
know,
felt more relief, Andy. You're like, oh,
I was just like, man, I'm good to go then, man. I ain't going down without a fight.
right, right. So
But
yeah,
yeah,
we started looking at sites, kind of like you mentioned. Um, so I felt a lot better. It made me at ease. I'm like, I, I don't have those severe symptoms. I just have a cough with mucus, a runny nose, and I still got kind of a runny nose. It hasn't really gone away. Um, I know they announced that it was going to be a bad season for allergies since we didn't really get too cold of a weather. So they were saying something didn't die off. So blah, blah, blah. I don't know too much about it. But granted, I felt better other than this runny nose that I still kind of have and this slight cough. So I've been back to work, the usual, or at least work. They've been kind of spreading the social distancing, don't get close to each other and whatnot. And as of right now, Andy, I'm still kind of feeling this cough. I haven't felt any additional symptoms or anything else. But now we're talking about this is 7, 8, 9. This is day 9 or day 8 since the onset of my first cold feelings or whatever. So, knock on wood, thank the God so far, everything seems cool. It seems like it was just a cold. But I'm not really sure, man. It's kind of scary. It does still got me kind of a little anxiety. I'm trying to keep my distance from people, keep my distance away from my family.
did you ever get the hold of the doctor, or did he call you back, or
Oh, right,
because
right.
that's one of the knocks I've been hearing people been trying to get hold of the doctor, and they're not usually not getting same day appointments, or they promised them some type of like consultation over the phone bullshit, and
Right.
they try to schedule it within a time frame, and they're not getting to them at they kind of like of Xfinity, not within that time frame, or they are getting them like really like the next day or something.
Right, right. Yeah, the nurse lady, another nurse lady, a different one, a one that I know because she's the personal nurse, not the personal nurse, but the one that works with my doctor. Where the first one was just some office lady that was asking me these questions. So the nurse for my doctor calls and he's just like, yeah, we're still trying to get a hold of the doctor and blah blah blah. How's everything going? And by then, my work had told me that they didn't need any kind of doctor's note. That if I felt ill, to just stay home, but that if I felt better and everything seems okay, that I can just return to work. So I told this to the lady. I'm like, you know what? Originally, I was trying to see the doctor because I thought my work was going to make me have some kind of doctor's note. But now that they don't need a doctor's note, I mean, it's really up to you guys if you need me to come in. But I don't feel like I have the COVID virus because I told her I have a runny nose. I had a sore throat the first day, the first couple of days, and I'm feeling fine now. And they're just like, well, just monitor yourself and keep washing your hands, do all the all the stuff that they've been telling us to do. And so I just been going business as usual. So hopefully, God willing, we'll keep chugging along. But you had a story about a doctor's office too. You just told me before we started recording, right?
So I already heard. I've been reading. I shouldn't say I heard. I read a lot of the horror stories where. I mean, I'm not like 24/7 fucking COVID slash coronavirus slash Chinese virus, whatever they're calling it. Whatever that brand name is for it for the day. But I was reading on Twitter people complaining. We already know the hospitals are overworked in those. I read somewhere that 50% of all of the coronaviruses in the United States come from 3 fucking states: the state of Washington, California, in the state of New York. I mean, 50% of all the viruses, confirmed cases are coming from there. So, I mean, Chicago, we have our own thing here. It's growing every day, just like anywhere else in the country. We're the third largest city in the country. So I was kind of nervous because I started reading stuff about people are, on Sunday, Governor Cuomo was talking about we need to cancel all elective procedures and surgeries. We need these hospitals at full staff. Today, I heard Trump on the drive home from my doctor talking about they need to cancel everything, like fucking root canals, procedures, and I'm going to detail. I mean, everything, anything that's elective, they're like, don't do it right now. So this morning I woke up. I've been having some back issues for the last 2 weeks, and this morning I struggled to get out of bed. My wife literally had to help me get up off of the bed.
Get up or get off?
No, get off of the bed, man. Come
okay.
on.
I was just clarifying.
I don't have it yet, so we'll see. According to the symptoms that I read, no emergency situation.
So
but
no corona yet.
Okay. I made the decision because where we work, Dan, we're still working. I mean, the rest of the country's fucking shutting down, but we're here fucking bleeding the corporate blood here to get the product out of our company here. But that's a discussion for another time. But yeah, we're still working. So I made a decision not to go to work. I told my boss, I'm like, it pains me to walk from here to the bathroom. And it's like about 20 steps. And it was that bad. So I didn't go. I told my wife, let me see if we could call the doctor, see what time they open, and hopefully they could see me today, because I was really fucking nervous that, first of all, I wasn't able to gonna get nobody, or two, they're gonna be telling me stay the fuck away. We're busy with real shit. Fuck your back, old man. That's what I was worried about, right? Because I was in that much fucking pain. Plus, I also started self-diagnosing. And I'm like, man, could it be this? I was reading that where my pain is at. It could have been kidney stones, because my pain's always been in the lower right back. Kidney stones, inflammation of my kidney, some type of kidney, I think inflammation of my kidney, or some nerve thing, between my spine and my lower back. And I'm like, fuck, man. It got me really fucking worried. And we finally got a hold of somebody. I had to talk to literally 3 people to get an appointment. They're like, well, what's wrong? And I'm like, I told them the problems. And she kept asking me, does it hurt to piss? And I'm like, no, not in those words. And then she started asking me 3 times, have I been out of the country? Do I have these symptoms? The fever, the dry cough, respiratory issues. I'm like, no. I checked my temperature this morning. I'm fine. And then she's like, let me transfer you to somebody else. A triage nurse, I think is what she said. And then I talked to her, the same shit. And then I believe she put me on hold. And I'm like, here we go. They're going to tell me to fuck off. And then, okay, we have an appointment that we could schedule in at this time. And I'm like, oh, okay, great. But you won't see your doctor. You're going to see one of his partners. One of his partners or something, because your doctor's unavailable. And I'm like, where the fuck is this guy, man? It's bullshit. I pay big money here to have my fucking doc 24/7.
You still seeing llamas or what?
No, I got this other guy. He's part of the Elmhurst district thing, or system, whatever it's called, DuPage, which got fucking a lot of viruses confirmed today. I don't know if you saw the thing this early afternoon, Danny.
Oh, no.
You see, we had 123 plus confirmed cases today.
Right, and since yesterday, 123.
Yeah. Is that getting more testing kits? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just glanced right now, and Illinois is at 160, I believe, was the last number.
So, yeah, so I'm like, all right, sweet, wash my balls, wash my hands. Got to go nice and healthy looking. We go, and boom, right off the bat, as soon as you get there, there's fucking signs everywhere. If you're coughing, runny nose, fever, don't fucking come in here. Like, stay the fuck away. Call this number. They'll tell you what to do. Like, damn, what happened if you really got like a fucking flu? I think you're gonna die. You know? So it's like fucking scary. Then you see people when you walk through the door, they all have face masks on. And that's when I'm like, ah, shit, I shouldn't have brought my
the
wife
workers
with
or
me.
patients?
The workers, patients, the whole nine.
Everybody's got masks.
Yeah, and I'm just like, man, this is kind of fucking scary, man. And then,
and this is just today, right?
Yeah, that was this morning. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So we go there. I grab the hand sanitizer, and this hand sanitizer was the strongest alcohol smelling sanitizer I ever smelled. Like usually hand sanitizer, it has like you can smell like a little bit of a fragrance. This was just straight fucking alcohol and foam, you know. And then so we go, and when I'm in there, there's a lady arguing that she had an appointment today with her doctor, and they were asking her the same fucking questions. And I heard the secretary of the nurse go, "But we called you and canceled the appointment." And she goes, "Well, I need to see her." And then they're like, "Well, why?" And then, "Well, yeah, you know, I just need to see her. I thought my appointment was still on, but she's not here. When is she going to be back?" And then they started asking her, like, "Well, do you have a fever? Did you have this? Do you have that?" And she's like, "No, no. Well, I did have a cough, but it went away." I'm like, "Oh, shit." And then I'm like literally like 6 to 7 feet away from her. And they give her a mask. And then that's when the other lady called me over, and I'm giving her my spiel. And they asked me again, "Do you have a cough?" Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, "No, no, no, no." "Okay, they'll call you in a minute." And then they sent that lady away. And I'm just like, damn, was this bitch exposed? I'm looking at my wife, and I was just like, fuck, man. Like, what did I just do? And then that had me going for like 5 minutes. Like, fuck, I hope we didn't get caught because this bitch just came in because she like hoping to see somebody last minute. Because it's very controlled, you know. It's like they're not letting anybody just roll up in there. And that's what I saw. It was kind of shocking. Like there was nobody in the waiting room. Just my wife, and I think there was this old lady with her, like a kid, like a baby. It was just very strange.
Yeah, I think they are trying to control it, that even if you have symptoms, call before you even go anywhere, just so that they can prep and tell you what to do.
So I get in there, the doctor does his spiel, you know, and blah, blah, blah. Have you traveled? Have you done this? No. And then we do my thing. Basically what it came out to, he called them back spasms, and he gave me steroids. And
yeah, so so nothing was hopefully related to the COVID, or at least they don't think so.
No. He asked me, he did like this test on me with my legs to see if there were kidney stones. Like he was stretching me. And right when he was done, he fucking went to the hand sanitizer, and that kind of pissed me off. Like, hey, motherfucker, y'all just put me through this shit, you know? And I was just like, I don't know, should I be offended that he went straight to the hand sanitizer after he did his test?
Yeah, you know? I mean, I'm sure he's just trying to play it safe to stay healthy.
It's giving him shit, but you know, so we're with that. And then one of the other things that caught my eye, so when I was in there, the nurse came in, they took my blood pressure and took my temperature, and my temperature came up high, and I'm like, how's my blood pressure? She's like, it's a bit high. And I'm like, really? And I'm like, what was it last time I was here? You were at like 125 or something, which was a little below, like it was elevated. And then for this one, it was like 139. And I'm like, how's that possible after I dropped all this weight? Because, you know, I lost a lot of weight. And he goes, I don't know. The doctor will probably check you out twice. And then, so when he was in there, he's like, oh, man, you dropped a lot of weight, because it wasn't my normal doctor. And then I'm just like, yeah, that's why I don't understand why my blood pressure was high. So he goes, well, you're fucking sick. You're sick. Your back's killing you, right? So you're stressed out about it, right? Yeah, that's why you have high blood pressure. I wouldn't worry about it. I'm like, all right, sweet, man. Like, I like this doctor. So now my wife's like, we need to monitor it more. And I'm like, okay, we'll check it out. I'll go to, when all this shit settles down, I'll go to the Oscos or whatever, the local pharmacy, see if they still have those blood pressure testing machines.
Right. So I guess
But
after everything was said and done, it appears to be something else, but it kind of gives you a glimpse as to what everybody's dealing
yeah,
with, man.
because the last couple weeks I've just driven to work and came back. I might stop to get gas. Um, I haven't really gone to the stores since like in 2 3 weeks. I think the last time I went anywhere was maybe 2.5 weeks ago, the last weekend where it was nice. I think I went to the one of the outlet malls, and ever since that, after all this shit started escalating, I'm like, let's just stay home, and we bought supplies and food, and we did that run kind of early, and then we self quarantined last weekend, and speaking of that, we self quarantined. A fucking door to door salesman came to my house.
Selling vacuums or what?
Dude, someone knocks on the door. Right, this is the early on the coronavirus pandemic here, and we and my wife are taking it serious. Everybody's still doing their bullshit. And they're like, don't go home. This is when all the panic shopping where the toilet paper became really scarce. And I'm like, we're good. We got a shitload of toilet paper. And then, so a guy comes to the door. I look out the window. He has a clipboard. And I'm just like, oh, maybe it's somebody from the city or something. I open the door, and then the fucking guy's like, hey, yeah, man, is so-and-so here? He asked for my wife's name. I'm like, who's asking? And he goes, oh, I'm here to help you guys with your water. I'm like, my water? He goes, yeah, I'm here. I could get you a water system for free. And I'm like, no, I'm not interested. He goes, oh, hold on. My name is, and he sticks out his hand. And I'm just like, yeah, dude, I ain't fucking shaking no one's hand because of the virus thing. I'm not interested. And I just slammed the door on him. And I'm just like, my wife's like, why you had to be like that? Because he's a fucking salesman. They don't know how to take no. It's like, that's when I'm like, I got to get my gun out because this shit's going to get crazy.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are freaking out a little bit. I got to be honest that early in the week, like I mentioned, once they started kind of closing schools and closing restaurants, it had me a little edgy too, man. It had me a little bit to where like, man, this could get crazy really fast.
I'm going to just say this, Dan. By the time this episode drops, I think they are gonna it's gonna be announced already, but you know how I have some inside info on how this school system works here. They are prepared as of today. At the time of this recording, it's March 18th. They are making preparations for school not returning this year. That's all I'm gonna say. There's emails floating around. Don't ask how I got them, but I see they're calling it phase 2 of virtual learning. I think is what the name I saw. That
Right.
That they're not. To me, it sounded like they're not gonna bring school back. They're gonna just let it ride out, and they're coming up with procedures and guidelines on how this shit's gonna end, or not the schools for the kids, because here in Chicago land, a lot of schools are closed till the end of this month, and they've been closed this whole week. So that is what I heard today.
Right. I know here in the state of Illinois, like you mentioned, Andy, school's not supposed to go back until April, or I think like March 30th.
Yes.
We're a few days into the first week, and then next week the schools are closed as well. And I'm not sure if they're going to go back on the 30th, which is the first Monday, or if they're going to wait until April. But I got a feeling you're right, man. I got a feeling that they might extend this thing out.
I know they're working on it. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, I got a feeling they might extend this thing out, or at the very least, and then if not, like you mentioned, maybe just close out the rest of the year and have these kids finish from home.
So I know a lot of school districts are where I live. They have Chromebooks. I don't know if your son has a Chromebook or some type of laptop or a tablet.
at school they do have
Yes.
electronic devices, but every student doesn't have one particular one. They share a
Yes.
batch of laptops with everybody.
So they're coming up with some type of, what I read, some phase where those are going to be involved in what needs to be done and so forth. So, like I said, when this episode drops, it's probably going to be like at the peak, and I think pretty much most of Americans are going to be hunkered down. I don't want to, but there's going to be some. I feel, that I don't have no inside info on this, but yeah, we're gonna be hunkered down, and they're gonna put some type of self-impose some quarantine on everything and everything. Because right now stores are shutting down. Do you think it's funny that, here's my conspiracy theory, all these stores are shutting down and like for the next 2 weeks? Because it's just, I find it interesting that they're shutting down so early when we're so early on what the experts and the government people are telling us in this pandemic here in the United States, when everybody's saying the peak's going to be in like 45 days, which is like 2 3 weeks away.
Right. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
it's
I can't.
scary if you really start thinking of what, when they tell you certain things and you start like, I'm not saying I'm definitely not smart, but I know enough that when they tell you shit and you start fucking doing some simple math, you kind of pinpoint of what the fuck's going on.
Right. I mean, I think it's definitely very scary. And when I was talking to my parents about it, they were kind of like nonchalant about it, kind of like, nah, they're just overreacting, kind of thing, or at least that was like their basic thought
Yeah,
behind
I've
it.
run into a lot of those people. Yeah,
And I told them, I'm like, you know what, it doesn't hurt to be a little bit prepared. Now, I'm not saying go crazy and buy 6 months worth of toilet paper. It might be needed, but for now, let's not plan in the worst case. Let's at least plan for what is looking to be the case of them shutting down everything for a couple weeks at least. So I'm telling them this, and they're just like, well, I don't know. We went to the store the other day looking for tortillas, and then we went to the store this other day, and I'm like, I had talked to you guys a few days ago and told you guys just hunker down, stay at home, relax. You got plenty of food, you got plenty of supplies, just hang out and ride this out. My parents are getting up there in age. They're in their 60s and 70, and it's like, you guys need to take care of yourself and just stay here at the house and relax. And it is a little scary, man. I got to be honest. It is a little scary.
yeah,
I'm a man of faith, and I've been praying a lot. I typically pray a bit, but now it's kind of been ramped up now. And, I got to admit, it does give me a little bit of calm just because I don't wish to die. I don't wish, for everything to be over. But at the same token, I'm a man of faith, and if God calls me, then it's my time. It's my time to punch my ticket and roll on out of here. But at the same time, I don't want that just because I think about, my family needs me, and I want to be here as long as I can to try to provide for them and give them as much as I can and as much as God's willing to give me. But it is scary, man. It's scary out there, and I know there are people that are even more scared than me. I think I have a little calmness in me just because I feel God's traveling with us, so I don't feel as freaked out. But at the same token, it does get to you.
well, yeah. I mean, when all you hear is constantly bad news, and everybody knows it's bad.
Right.
So everybody's just like, fuck. And like, what I hate to see right now is like all the name calling and name pointing and like, oh, you fucked up. Like, there'll be time for all that after we get through all this, hopefully. And then you could call out who fucked up where and what could have been done more. But this point is just like, let's just get this shit rolling, shut it down, whatever you're gonna do, or wheel out whatever plan you have to execute. We don't want to what's going on in Europe to happen in here. But if that's, you know, the self quarantine for the hardcore quarantine or shutdown for 14 days that you keep hearing about, I mean, it's fucking scary because there's a lot of people out there. They're not taking it serious. Like I have people, I know people within my family that are not serious about it, and some that are. Some of them are older too. Some of them are not, and it's just like it's all over the place. I think at this point, you know, and the big thing on Twitter with the Generation X, the millennials and the boomers. I think the boomers and millennials are just like, fuck this. You know, millennials, we're young, we could live through this.
YOLO.
And the boomers is like, this ain't shit, man. I've seen worse. And the Gen Xers, we grew up, you know, being in our rooms by ourselves, just fucking rocking out to music because we didn't have internet. I mean, we had TV or some CDs or tapes, and we're used to being alone. We come home alone. I come home from school. Nobody would be here, just me and my sister, or now just go to my room, and we were kind of we like being by ourselves, I should say. And I think I was just reading something this morning about how Generation X is the only ones taking this shit seriously. Because I believe, like you, Danny, we have the most to lose. We're still, I don't want to say in our prime, but our peak comes to work, and like as a generation, we're in our prime earning years. Most of us have families. We have homes and so forth. We lived through a lot of up and downs in the economic situation. And so we know what this means. You know, the other thing they're talking about is the economy. And I think in America, I'm about getting paid, but fuck, man, when people's lives are at risk, I hate how they're haggling over fucking all these decisions are being made up. I feel like because of money. And when you make decisions based off of money versus people's lives, bad decisions are going to be fucking made. And I feel that's one of the reasons why this country hasn't gone to full shutdown mode like in parts of Europe, because they're worried about the economy coming to a grinding fucking halt.
And then you read kind of happening already. I mean,
which it's self-happening.
Right, with the stock market.
What needs to. I mean, what are you gonna do when the thing comes back and there's all these dead people and none of them? The last thing they're gonna want to do is shop. They're still gonna need services and stuff, but there's not gonna be as many people who you want to spend money. So I feel like I was reading today, GM, Ford, and Chrysler, they're shutting down plants for like 2-3 weeks. Like these are conglomerates, giants of American institutions, you know, and the economy. GM and Ford, they're shutting down for 2 fucking weeks. They worked with the union, and and they're gonna, because they had multiple workers come down with the virus, and they're shutting that down. And unfortunately, a lot of small businesses are not going to survive, but at least the owner might survive. I mean, your employees might survive to be with their family. I mean, can you put a value on that? Maybe. I don't know, man. I know I couldn't. I would just tell people, go, if I were in the business, be like, yeah, I might not, your job might not be back here when it's come, but your family sure will if you go home and stay in the house for a while for 2 weeks. Because this is getting pretty grim, and the only good thing that I've seen from this coronavirus is the fucking memes, the people laughing about it, because there have been some pretty good memes out there.
Yeah, you bring up a good point there that I was gonna mention. There is like 24/7 news of all this COVID stuff, and it's all over Facebook and it's all over YouTube and everywhere, all over the news. Do you tend to want to watch as much as you can and stay as informed as you can, or are you to the point where it's just too much and you need to kind of tune out and see funny memes and stuff like that and stay kind of entertained?
Me personally, I've always been a news junkie. When 24/7 cable news came out, with CNN headline news and MSNBC and Fox News. Oh man, because this is nonstop info, man. I love getting info. The only problem is now we have so many channels. The problem is you see them regurgitate the same fucking shit, and then now with with the internet and Twitter, what's awesome about Twitter, you see people just they're fucking shitting on people just for the sake of it, and then also I feel one of my bigger traits is I always from a long time I try to read between the lines and to see, okay, they said this, or there's like they don't never say, like, being politicians, they never answer yes, no, whatever. It's just like the way they word shit, that means, okay, something's going on. Obviously, everybody thinks the government always has a plan for all this shit. I mean, either they don't know or they have something ready to go. And because, people, like, you've seen all those memes, like aliens. See, this is why we're never going to tell them we exist, because they go and fucking buy toilet paper. Like, there's all this shit, like, because, I mean, people in general, a lot of people think the human beings were like we're kids, when it comes to how much we evolved. And when we're together, people tend to be big masses. People turn into asses, even the most smart person. When there's a panic of a crowd panic, it just everybody just like, I'm gonna go with the crowd because I don't want to stick out.
Right.
And generally, people in crowds will do bad shit if now it's one person, because you'll see that person, they'll probably fuck them up or something.
Yeah, today on the news I saw that there's people on spring break in Miami.
Yeah,
and they're partying like nothing's going on, and it's really weird, man. I don't understand it. To me, maybe I'm overly cautious, but I'd rather be that person. I'd rather be that person where they're like, there's going to be 15 inches of snow overnight. When you wake up, you're going to have to dig yourself out of your driveway. Wake up early in the morning, get enough time to get to work and blah, 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 and be that person. And then when I wake up in the morning, there's only 2 inches of snow, and be relieved and be like, oh, okay, the storm must have hit us more to the south or more to the north, and we didn't get it as bad.
It's just like always, man. I mean, me and you were, that's why I wish Noel was here, because he's more millennial. And just the way the last 3 press conferences for the CDC, or not the CDC, with the
White House,
but the White House ones, and it all started when they told people to stay home, and people for St. Patrick's Day went out, got drunk, went to restaurants. People tweeting like, "Oh, fuck this! I'm young. I'm gonna go out and eat a fucking Red Robin burger because this is America and I can do what the fuck I want," which is absolutely true. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But you're putting people's lives at risk because you could give it to someone who's older, who has those things, whatever. I mean, and then right away after that, what did the governors enact? People closing down restaurants and bars, because as soon as in this country, as soon as the government tells you to do something, there's always going to be people saying, I ain't doing that shit, fuck you. This is America, I can do what the fuck they want, and they're absolutely correct. But, I mean, it comes to a point where you're putting people's lives at risk,
Yeah, I mean, hey, man, it's tough, man. I understand the youth. I mean, Junior's 10 years old, so maybe he doesn't count, but he's oblivious as to what's going on. He doesn't realize
he just knows the internet's working and I get to watch my videos and
right.
rock on.
To him, it's like,
no school.
I'm like, buddy, man, this is sad that this pandemic's happening. And he's just like, no, it's cool because there's no school. And I'm just like, no, buddy, it's like, this is sad because there's people dying, there's people that are sick, and there's going to be more people that are going to get sick and die. And it's really sad, I wish you did have time off of school and you didn't have to go to school, but not because of these reasons. So I think it just shows the mentality of maybe some of the youth that they maybe feel indestructible, or maybe they're oblivious to the realities of what's out there. And dude, I pray that it's overreacting. I honestly do. I honestly pray that it's their way of trying to soften that curve, trying to make it soft to where, yeah, we did all these steps ahead of time to kind of dampen it so it wouldn't be as bad. And, when this episode drops, or maybe a few weeks after that, that we find out that things are kind of returning to a sense of normalcy. But I don't know, man. I sincerely hope and I pray that that's the case. But it's kind of scary to think that, this is going to be our new norm for the next couple months.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's I mean, it's gonna be interesting. Hopefully, they get a handle on it, and the only thing they know is just don't get next to people, and it's scary. I don't know the isolation and the self quarantine. I'm just thinking, well, what's gonna happen after all that shit ends? Is like this shit's not gonna magically disappear.
And I'm worried even for the self quarantine or the isolating yourself. Are people really prepared to stay at home for a month? Do people have enough supplies to stay at home for a month? Is it going to get to
Probably
the point
not.
where, right? I would have to venture on to say that more than half of the U.S. is not prepared to stay home for a month. So what's going to end up happening is that the police are going to have to try to keep as much control as possible, but it's going to get rowdy out there. It's going to get people are going to, when you lose the comforts of your life and you lose that comfort that Junior has, that he's got internet and he's got a warm bed to live in. When you start losing some of that stuff, man, people get crazy, man.
This is where people get unruly. Just look what happened when we ran out of toilet paper.
Right.
This fucking country went into in a tizzy, So people are civil. I mean, me and you had this discussion personally, on a personal level, when people are civil because they're comfortable. They can still get stuff. But once that happens, the average human, as much as we want to be compassionate and help thy neighbor, I mean, people turn savage because your instinct to survive kicks in, that animal instinct, and you're going to do what you have to do to survive. And it's some code written in our DNA that we're never going to lose, I guess. And it's an interesting to see it. This is the closest I think we've ever pushed at the time of this recording to martial law, and I've never thought I would see this in America, and here it is, little by little, because we always talked about it, Danny, that and nothing in the government ever works overnight. It just never does, and we're slowly inching towards that line of don't do this, don't do that, do this, and closing this and this. How long before they tell you to stay the fuck home and don't leave until we tell you?
Right. I mean, I'm with you, man. I think it's going to be the next step. I think maybe in a week's time they're going to announce it, especially if the numbers keep rising the way they are. I mean, yesterday the numbers in Illinois were 30 or 40, and now it's 170. That's a big jump, man. And that's that we're in a hot state, but not as bad as, like you mentioned, California, Washington, New York. But with these numbers climbing, if they keep multiplying the way they are, it's going to get worse before it gets better, man. So I don't know, man. I wash your hands, take it serious, keep social distance. I mean, me and Andy usually have lunch just about every day together. And since this thing got, hot, man, we don't even eat lunch together. And not that I think
you got
Andy,
the virus, man.
Maybe I do. I don't know, man. But I don't believe you to have it. But even that makes me want to stay away. Just because. Let's just play it safe. We'll spend a couple of weeks distant, and when the thing is finished, we'll talk about it and, say our prayers and, put it behind us and keep moving on. But yeah, man, until now, you got to take it serious, man. You got to do what you can, what's within your limit to be able to control what you can control and try to mitigate this problem.
When I picked up my medicine for my prescriptions, I was debating if I should go through the drive-through or go through to walk in and pick it up, because I told my wife, "Do we need anything?" She goes, "Yeah, we can get some Tylenol." And I'm like I had a debate, like think about it. I'm like, let's just go in. And it was strange because everybody was like far away. The pharmacy was like working overtime. It was like weird. The fucking toilet paper aisle was like empty. The alcohol wipes and this was all empty. It was just fucking very strange. And when I was in line, I was like 6 feet away from that person. Then there was a person behind me. They were far away. It was just a very strange feeling of, one, nobody wants to get sick. Two, I saw old people doing like their grocery shopping at Walgreens. I'm like, man, this is just like, it was like an eerie fucking feeling. It was just strange. I didn't know how else to explain it. But all I know is like, I just wanted to get the fuck out of there once I got my medicine, because I was like so fucking paranoid. Like, man, these people could be sick. I don't know. And like I told my wife, give me the hand sanitizer, because I used my debit card. I had to touch the keypad. I'm like, give me the hand sanitizer quick. Like, I was fucking paranoid.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I get my prescriptions from CVS. They sent us an email and they're like, you cannot pick up your meds anymore. They're offering deliveries for your meds because they don't want people to come in to pick up meds. They want people to stay home and don't come in. So yeah, man, it's scary, man. It's scary.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that was the first time I've been in a store since all this shit went down, and I was like, I was kind of nervous about it,
Yeah, I actually went to I went to the store yesterday, but it was an AutoZone store because guess what? I woke up and my headlight was blown, and my right headlight was out. And I'm driving to work, and I'm like, man, it seems a little darker because in the morning it's usually pretty dark when I go to work. And sure enough, man, when I told these, this was on Monday, I think, yeah, Monday. And when I drive home, I totally zone out on it. And when I definitely pull into my driveway, it confirmed that my headlight was out. So anyways, I go yesterday, and there was 2 other people in the store there. I didn't know which headlight I needed, so everybody was spaced out. Everybody was spaced out. Nobody was close to each other.
Yeah.
As soon as the guy in front of them was gone, then the next guy kind of shifted up a little bit, but they also kept their distance. And it was weird, like you mentioned. It was weird keeping that distance.
Yeah, think about it. It's changing your it's changing your routine. It's making you think about stuff that you normally wouldn't think about. Like, even with me, like, you know how they've been remodeling like the coffee station area. So I the last week I've been buying coffee through McDonald's, or I was going to 7-Eleven. But I was like, the 7-Eleven, like, I got to get the fuck out, go inside, maybe bump into other people, and I'm gonna just be like I don't want to deal with all that. So then I started going through 7-Eleven, which here in Illinois, all the restaurants are closed. The only thing that's open is the drive-through. And I gave the lady change. I had change in my truck because it's $1.10, and I give her the change. I'm like, I fucking touched this woman. Like, what about if she's fucking sick? And like, that's how fucking paranoid I am about it. And I just like every time I go out and I fucking bump or touch into anybody, I'm thinking like, what the fuck, man? Like, these people better not be sick. That's all that's on my mind lately. And I would never think like that. Like, I just want to avoid them at all costs,
Right. I mean, it's sad to say, but I think this is going to be a future for us from, today on forward. It's going to be something where there might be a return to normalcy, kind of like when 9/11 happened and there was a bunch of people acting a certain way and precautions being taken because of what happened during 9/11. And it went to a point where it was like everything was super strict and super safe. And not saying that it's laxed down from there, but it definitely has softened up where it's not at the forefront of people's thought. It's more in the background now. Is this something that right now it's in the forefront of this social distancing, kind of being precautious? You use your ATM, you enter your debit number, and you got to sanitize your hands afterwards. Are these going to become the new social norms that it becomes just a part of your life to where it's in the forefront now, but it's going to become so instant, in a year?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, we don't want to end on such a somber note, but yeah, I mean, it's just hopefully it all works out. I mean, we're pretty sure it's going to work out. It's just, I think America is going to be changed. The world is going to be changed. How we interact with people, maybe Skyping, video conferencing has become the new norm. And like,
sexting.
Sexting is kind of boring. I like the real shit. I'll wear a mask if I have to. But yeah.
Hey, let me ask you a quick question, Andy.
Yeah.
Fuck, I lost my train of thought. Jesus Christ.
You gonna leave the internet hanging like that, man?
Yeah, it was gonna be some dumb question. I was hoping to lighten the mood, like you said. I hate for us to leave on a somber note. I am optimistic. I'm a man of faith, and I hope God will, take us in the correct direction and guide the people that are in control of the country, guide the people that are taking care of us medically, guide the people that are searching for a cure and for, any kind of thing to alleviate everybody. So, I pray for all those things, and the Bible teaches us to have faith, and that's what I'm having right now. And that's what kind of gets me through the day to where I'm not running down the street yet. Because I ran out of toilet paper.
People.
Yeah, I know. So,
but yeah, I mean, faith, JC will get us through this, and whatever faith you guys believe in, just positive thoughts, and hopefully, I'll give you this for humanity. We're pretty ingenious of getting ourselves out of some fucking pickles here. Fuck, man, if we put people in space and we shot cars up there and we find vaccines, I'm pretty sure we'll find one. It's just, hopefully it's rather quick this time because we don't got time to spare what we're seeing here. But we'll always have our memes, and we'll have our political divides entertaining us on Twitter. So, think what you think. Let us know what you guys think, or your personal experience trying to find somebody, or if you've been infected, whatever. Because we know this is impacting a lot of people. Send them to ffnquestions@gmail.com. But we got to check out. We got to get our fucking COVID-19/coronavirus/Chinese virus test kits. I heard there's one around the block here. Have you even heard what they do on the test, Annie? I heard all these rumors. I haven't really looked at it. Well, I heard they stick something up your nose.
Right. It's just like the flu tests.
Wait, there's a flu test?
A flu test. When you have the flu, they have a test to see what kind of flu you have. And what they do is they get a sample in the back of your throat or in your nasal patches, and it is deep. I mean, they put like this 5-inch, 6-inch Q-tip. And they go deep into your nose and get a mucus sample from the back. But yeah, it's just like the flu test. When Junior had gotten the flu a month or so ago, 2 months ago, they had to stick that Q-tip all deep in his nose, and trust me, you could see the uncomfortness from him. So.
Yeah, my wife kind of told me, like, nah, that don't sound right. We could do DNA tests by just swiping the inside of your mouth to fucking get to know if you got this thing. They got to jam something all the way down the back of your nose through your, down your throat. Like, it did not make sense to me. And, like, I don't even want to Google it because I didn't believe it. But, man, you kind of fucked it up. Now we're going back down that rabbit hole again.
Right.
So, but thank us. I want to thank everybody for listening. You can follow Freeform Network on Facebook and Twitter on the Freeform Network. You can send your questions, suggestions, and stories to ffnquestions@gmail.com. We want to know what you guys are going through, because not also health-wise and economically with this thing we're going on. How's this impacting you? Because it's all over the place. So hit us up at ffnquestions@gmail.com. You could just find that email or anything. All our old episodes are archived. All our links at freeformnetwork.podbean.com. There's everything. The website, our fucking bios, our links to every fucking imaginable type of app. Listening, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Google, Spotify. I mean, it's all fucking on there, folks. Check it out. Subscribe if you can. Give us a rating. Whatever you can do to help us out. We want, Stitcher. We like Stitcher. We still like iTunes. Podbean, it's all right, I guess. Subscribe. Hit that like button. For Freeform Radio, we have Danny.
Yes, sir. Everybody stay safe out there.
And we got It's All Good, Andy. Wash your hands, wash your asses, stay safe, stay healthy. And thanks for you guys for listening. And hopefully the next episode will be an update how we survived this bullshit and go on to our amusing talk. So we'll catch you guys later.
That was cool, Dad.